because I am beautiful. I used to say to myself, oh, I don't want to go to school today. And my mother would ask me why. And sometimes I would tell her what was going on, and sometimes I wouldn't. There were times where I was suicidal. And as you know, some people have been drove to commit suicide. I also knew that most of my depression came from being bullied. However, I hated school because my heart beat from my chest all the way to the end of the day every time I walked into a school building. So, what is a bully? And I want you to think about that. My name is Avianca Jackson, and I am a victim of bullying. And this is the reason my parents were afraid to send me to school. In this article I read, parents talked about how bullying has red flags, it's getting out of control, and how nothing is done when it's one student versus the other. A friend of my mother's told me that her son, CJ, was being bullied for just being him. After repeatedly being picked on, CJ and the boy got in a fight. CJ won, and the other little boy decided to go home and bring a gun to school to threaten and harm him. As you know, CJ told his mother, and the situation was dealt with violently. There are red flags, indeed, ones that start with words, lead to fights, and can go as far as to bringing a gun to school to harm another child. However, she put CJ in another school, mentioning to the faculty and staff that this is my child and things need to be done when these things occur or things were definitely going to get ugly. I seen in the news, on TV, we're not the only ones whose parents want faculty and staff to do something about the situation because yet they ignore it. For as long as I can remember, teachers, professors, including faculty and staff, are considered the parents when children are at school to protect them, to teach them, and to help them. I was bullied all year in middle school from a girl who lived in the projects. And I knew she lived there because my babysitter daughters lived there as well. My babysitter would never leave me over there because we always saw her outside. Now my mother wanted the school to handle the situation, to de-escalate it, to handle it their way. But I constantly told her I was tired of the girl picking on me. And my mother went up to the school several times and nothing was ever done until I fought the girl a week before school ended. And my mother didn't send me back to school that last week. And then after I fought her, the faculty blamed me as if I didn't come to them about the situation. What else was I supposed to do? Make my parents go fight their parents to start a real war? Well, my parents was ready for that. They were all for that because they grew up like that, having parents who went to your house to fight you and your parents because you were messing with their child. But then I thought to myself, well, maybe if I fought back, she would leave me alone. And it worked because one, I didn't have my parents. When I had my parents into jail. And two, I needed to stand up for myself. A parent should feel okay in the morning for sending their child to school without having to worry about, oh, my child has gotten jumped in a fight, or coming home to find their child dead in their bedroom and never getting to save them from committing suicide. What, do we have to commit suicide over and over for someone to stand up and do something? What, does it have to go as far as the protesting? Do we not matter to them? My parents were off work several times for me being bullied and getting into fights over jealousy. The fear of hearing your child say, I don't want to go to school today, and you ask them why, and they tell you, I just don't feel like it. When they're really inferior going to school because they know they're going to get pushed around all day without even making it through the day. All I ever wanted to do was make it through the day without somebody messing with me, without me feeling scared of running into or trying to avoid a person who was trying to make me feel so low and afraid. Just because my parents spoiled me with anything I wanted, and I wore new bags and shoes and outfits and jewelry to match, I mean, that doesn't mean that I deserve to be impressed by anybody. Well, I stopped caring because I got this style from my grandmother. And boy, was she sharp. Me and her were close, and when she told me that there was nothing wrong with me and they only hated me because of my pretty hair and my pretty face, I was fine, somewhat. However, my little sister was in the bathroom one day, and she was playing a song by these two artists called The Youngins, and I loved her music because she always had good taste, and I would always add them to my playlist. So as I was going through the album of their songs, I came across one called Beautiful, and I listened to it. And music hit harder when you listen to the lyrics. And then it hit me. I was being bullied because I am beautiful. And I listen to that song every day. And my mother always said, pray for people or pray about it because the Lord will always come through for he is my witness. And I just want to say to those teachers, counselors, and principals that if I did listen to that song and turn to God, I would have ended up like her. I would not have been here today. So next time, help them, help me, or help somebody, because y'all didn't do enough. With that being said, they should do better, they should care, and they should want to help us when we're at risk of taking our own lives. You send your child to school, they're bullied throughout the day, you tell them to go report to somebody who works there, nothing is done, your child is still being picked on, your child gets depressed, and most of all embarrassed. They see no other way out except harming themselves to make it all go away. They take their own life. And now another name is added to the list of being a victim of bullying, which led them to commit suicide. So now, you're either gonna stand up or you're gonna sit down and be quiet. But me, on the other hand, I chose to stand up because you're not gonna neglect me any longer. You should have helped me. Imagine if I was your child.